Every day, millions of Indians, just like the ones behind me, step into gyms just like this one to achieve their fitness goals, carry out their fitness regimen, burn calories, and of course, chug on that protein shake that they're drinking like it was the fuel of life. But the truth is that the real magic does not really happen here in the gym. Of course, you can work out, but it's the kitchen where the actual magic takes place. Experts suggest that India is a protein deficient nation. We need more protein, and which is why it seems the FMCG brands, the big ones, are pumping in protein related snacks to rewire our dietary requirements. And now we're talking about an atta that promises 25% of your protein intake with just 3 rotis. You've got milkshakes, you've got biscuits, and you've got snacks, which is why the big question that we're trying to ask is whether this is the next health revolution or is this just the latest food fashion trend. Well, we're going to decode all of that. I'm going to speak to some of these people, some of them just walking in, many of them exercising here, the fitness enthusiasts, as to whether what they have to say. Meanwhile, experts are waiting for you up there in the studio for the big debate on India's big protein flex. This, ladies and gentlemen, is in your interest. That's right, many thanks for tuning in. You're watching In Your Interest, only on your favorite news destination. On the show tonight, we're trying to decode that big protein flex. And I've been speaking to various fitness enthusiasts, influencers, even FMCG experts, an informed panel that's waiting for you on the show tonight as well. Because we're diving into a revolution that's not fought on the streets, but in the kitchens, in the gyms, and the supermarkets across the country. From post-workout shakes, BCAAs, amino acids, the list is so huge, to protein-packed sliced bread, protein atta, protein paneer specifically. FMCG and dairy giants are now betting big on nutrients over mere meals. The big food giants are rebranding your everyday staples with one big promise: more protein, more health, more strength. And is this clever FMCG marketing disguised as nutrition awareness? Well, let's start with the numbers that paint a stark picture. Studies reveal a nutritional crisis at home. 73% of Indians are deficient in protein, with 91% of vegetarians and 85% of non-vegetarians falling short. And shockingly, 90% of all of us don't even know how much protein we need on an everyday basis. The ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, recommends 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight to prevent protein deficiency. But for optimal health, 1 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight is also preferred. Yet, nearly 3/4 of the nation isn't getting enough, and the consequences are profound as well. This isn't just about your diet, it's about nation building as well. Protein deficiency stunts growth in children, weakens immunity, and fast-tracks chronic diseases like diabetes. It saps muscle growth, dragging down labor productivity and dimming the promise of India's demographic dividend, a young, vibrant workforce that should be powering our economy instead. Instead, a less healthy population risks slowing our economic progress. And enter the protein revolution, the big protein flex. Indian FMCG and dairy companies are seizing this moment, flooding the market with over 100 new protein-enriched products in financial year 2025 alone. From post-workout shakes to staples like atta, our sliced bread, and paneer, the message seems to be clear. Food is for eating, but nutrients make us healthier. Once driven by fitness buffs and influencers, demand now surges from everyday citizens. Millennials, Gen Z, mothers, and even senior citizens now prioritizing vitality. And that's where protein comes in. The market is backing this shift, this paradigm. India's protein sector is projected to hit $1.52 billion in 2025 and climb to $2.08 billion by the year 2030, growing at a robust 6.5 CAGR according to Mordor Intelligence. And the big question that we're trying to ask today is India truly witnessing a protein revolution, or is this just another fleeting health fad, just a trend that one can swipe across through? With 73% of Indians protein deficient, how urgent is this health crisis for the nation's future? With us on the broadcast, Devanshu Datta, founder, Third Eyesight and FMCG expert. Many thanks for joining us, sir. Dilip Cherian, founder, Perfect Relations and Image Group. Many thanks. Always a pleasure to speak to you, Dilip. Dr. Shikha Sharma, founder, One Health and veteran, who's also a nutritionist on the show. You can ask us your questions on the MediaVerse. Get down on the comment section. And Chairman, Nephron Clinic, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. Many thanks, Doctor, for joining us here on the show. Before we come to the panelists, like I showed you, I was there at the gym. Couldn't get in my routine because there was a little bit of lack of time, but I did speak to many of those gym enthusiasts. Let's quickly listen in to what all they had to say with this new protein atta that's been pushed into the market, and what kind of challenges do they face when they're talking about dietary options specifically for the vegetarians out there.
I think the market is changing. I think now I am aware of all the bars, the attas, all that are coming in. I'm thinking the market is evolving. I mean, apart from the normal shakes.
बढ़िया ऑप्शन है ये रोटी का, क्योंकि प्रोटीन की ज़रूरत अब इस समय जो हम लोग का खान पियान उठना बैठना और जो पोल्यूशन है उसमें प्रोटीन की ज़रूरत बहुत ज़्यादा है।
आजकल मार्केट में वीगन प्रोटीन है, प्लांट प्रोटीन है, जो अच्छे अमाउंट में प्रोटीन दे देते हैं एक स्कूप में, और बाकी रागी आटा होता है, बहुत चीज़ें होती है, पनीर है, टोफू है और बीन्स है, राजमा है। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वेजिटेरियन के पास प्रोटीन सोर्स है नहीं, बहुत सारे प्रोटीन सोर्स है और उससे हो जाता है।
Well, so there's plant protein, there's a lot of products out there in the market. Kaam chal jata hai. But the actual question, and Dr. Sharma, Shikha Sharma, let me begin with you. India is 73% protein deficient, but many still believe that this protein and the protein shake that one can see one chugging at one of those treadmills, they say protein is only for the gym goers. How do we break this myth? 73% of India protein deficient, and we're still not consuming enough protein.
So basically, there are two parts to protein. First is how much protein you are consuming, but a bigger part is how much protein can you handle or digest. So a lot of problem within India is that the protein is not digested, even the protein which is available in the food. Why? Because of gut infections, poor water quality, which leads to gut infections. Second is poor liver. Because a lot of people, because of adulterated water, poor quality food, pesticides in food, their liver is fatty liver. So if you really compare the two, if you overlap fatty liver and gut health problems and diarrhea and poor water, then you'll see that even if those people get a lot of protein, they will not be able to absorb, they will not be able to digest, they will not be able to convert that protein into muscle tissue. So I think we have to look at three parts. One is actual how much protein one is consuming, then how much is the digestibility of that protein, then how much can the body handle, and finally that who are the people who are having these protein shakes and who are the people who are protein deficient and they need a holistic approach to protein consumption.
That's a great pertinent point that you've raised in a great conversation starter. Mr. Cherian, let me come to you next. Every FMCG, I'm sure you visit your own supermarket as well. Today, the advertisements scream high protein. You've got atta, ice cream, even protein kulfi. You've got protein water these days. Are we seeing a health revolution, or is this just clever marketing? I mean, where do you stand on that particular front?
It's a mixture of hype, hope, and health. Shikha has already dealt with the health part. The hype part is that every few years, you will have this wonder new ingredient. It's fiber at one time, it's protein at another time, it's organic a third time. So, clever marketers tend to use and, in a sense, divide the market in a way that those who can afford will now go for the new thing, which is hype. The second part is hope. Hope is in those who are, either gym goers or who feel that they need to add something to balance their diet. And the hope is that India's tradition of being extraordinarily carb dependent is actually going to be balanced out. And the third part is health, which Shikha and I'm sure the other doctors will deal with. And there are questions of absorption, what quality of protein, how much are you taking, and in what format. But let me say that the most important thing is that today the debate is about the fact that every single FMCG company is playing to this new gallery. It's the new game in town, and it's protein bars were the only thing that was some time ago. But between shakes and the
whilst
gym
these
revolution-
FMCG giants are playing to the gallery, Mr. Cherian, from cricket stars to Bollywood, influencers, they're all pushing protein shakes. Somebody's pushing a protein snack bar, somebody's pushing a protein powder. How much of India's protein push is actually being driven purely by optics rather than the substance that they're consuming?
I would say north of 40%. North of 40% is pure hype. And there is no doubt that a whole range of products have been tweaked to do two things. One, definitely add some protein to it. But number two, add muscle to the marketing.
All right. Dr. Bagai, let me come to you next. Chairman, Nephron Clinic. Does the form of protein, doctor, matter more than the amount? Talk about, a breakup of how the protein is created and synthesized in the first place. For example, you've got paneer versus a fortified atta with Bengal gram and oats versus your protein shake that you see everybody shaking right after their sets.
So, good evening. So, I think this is a complete scientific and medical masterstroke, which most of the large companies are now doing, is to fortify the food ingredients with the required amount of protein. So, let me give you some statistics, which you've already put out is more than 75%, that's 3/4 of Indians are running low in proteins, and more than 90% don't even know that they're running low in
Precisely.
proteins. And when you look at a protein intake, generally a child requires a 0.8 to 1 gram protein per kg per day. Adults may go up to 1.2, 1.3, but people who are like professional athletes, sports people who are competing can even exceed more than 2 grams of protein per day, but with under supervision and monitoring. You look at 35% of global load of protein deficiency exists in India. We are losing more than 6 lakh children below the age of 5 to 8 only because of protein deficiency. What does this impact? Poor cognitive function, poor mental growth, poor muscle growth. A large proportion of Indian children, especially in rural India under the age of 5, are growth stunted, mentally stunted, low IQ, low micronutrients, which include iodine, vitamins, and so on. The important thing here is that this blunts the ill effects of the fast food. Now, the fast food gives you a disproportionate and wrong content of fat, sugar, and salt. It's not only the protein amount, it's the quality of protein. And here I'll just take 30 seconds more. We need the required amount of essential amino acids. So if a particular brand which is making atta, which is used almost in every household across India, is fortifying it, it is an excellent move because it will give the required amount of dietary requirement of protein across all age groups. The most vulnerable are the children. Remember, 80% of a child's physical growth potential is achieved before the second birthday. A small child means an ill adolescent and a sick nation. Excellent move. We should push it. We have to spread public awareness that protein in the correct form, in the correct ingredients, in the correct percentage is the most important spinal cord of our overall balanced diet.
You're absolutely right, doctor. And it's not just for the gym goers. Let's keep on stressing on that point. It's not only for the gym goers. I see a lot of households, there's some sort of stigma and taboo around protein shake and protein powder. They say, no, this is synthetic material. Don't do that. We've got our own traditional practices that, can be accounted for here. Doctor, take it away.
Just a quick word on this. It's extremely important to understand that whey protein, which comes as a supplementation which a lot of athletes take, is not a stigma, it's not a taboo, it's not a curse. It gives you the required push of protein which is required before a very intensive physical, what we call as weight training program. Without that, your body goes into a state of what we call as catabolism. That means you start breaking down your pre-existing protein and muscle fibers, which is very bad. So if you're taking it in a calculated form, the whey protein is safe. Definitely consult your doctor. It should be calculated. It has to be timed with regards to your exercise. I've read extensively on this. A lot of my own family members are professional athletes and they are in this game. It's
Wow.
extremely important to understand it is safe.
All right, several more questions that are going to be coming your way the next time we pass the buck, Doctor. Do stay on with us. Devanshu Datta, founder, Third Eyesight and FMCG expert, is also with us on the broadcast. Mr. Datta, chalk from cheese, help us differentiate that. Amul claims world's highest protein paneer. Today we are learning about ITC saying that 3 rotis is going to give you 25% of your daily protein. How much of this is actual science and how much of this is a pure play sales pitch?
So I would put it this way, there's no hype without a kernel of truth. The most hyped trends, whether you look at, as Dilip mentioned earlier about marketing, is always built around a kernel of truth, and no company will make a tall claim without actually having some basis to it, some foundation to it. It's very difficult to say actually that, dairy-based protein is better than something which is embedded in the rotis, etc. Our dietary preferences are, as individuals, our lifestyles are very different. We have preferences. Let's say some people may have animal proteins, others may just avoid them completely. So we still need, as human beings, as human bodies, we still need protein. We need them for our basic metabolic processes. If it is made available in a form where it slips into the diet without much. So let's say a protein bar. A protein bar is not really part of the Indian diet, so to say, right? If you have more protein in atta, if you have fortified atta, that goes easily into the diet. If you take our earlier series of, let's say, different kinds of flours that we used to use in terms of millets and wheat, etc. Wheat was only one part of it. There were lots of millets, which probably had some of them, or for that matter, gram flour. These all have higher ratios of protein than just refined wheat, which a lot of people have. So if you can make that shift, I think it's a good thing. Of course, it is marketing. That's what FMCG companies do. That's what brands do. Let's take the good and not kind of, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's actually a nice way of putting it. Protein fortification, do you think, Mr. Datta, this protein fortification is going to be the next low-fat fad of the 90s? Do we see similar consumer fatigue down the line? Like, Mr. Cherian was pointing out earlier, it was fiber, now it's protein, then it's going to be oats. Today, you're going to combine all of this. It's going to be highly fiber protein. It can be packaged and resaled in the same commodity can be packaged and, given back to the consumers in different ways. So, do you see a similar consumer fatigue down the line?
So if you look at it, there are fashion trends. There are dietary fashion trends which come and go. And I don't think India is unique in that sense. Our cycles have become quicker. We have larger companies which have more budgets. They need to show top line growth. Something new has to be done. So what's that new improved? So I think that will keep happening. Today it's protein, tomorrow it will be something else. But I think it is very important. I think that as the doctors have said earlier, it's something which is required just as a basic fundamental building block of health, and we need to step that up. So I think it will stay. I don't think it's just a fad. It may be more fashionable today, but we also have an economy which is getting richer. We have many more consumers today who are able to spend discretionary income on higher priced products which are more value added, and I think that's also going to keep driving for the next decade and a half. I think it's going to drive that market.
But how big is that chunk really, Mr. Datta, before I move on? The chunk of the demography that has that discretionary, extra pocket money to spend on, because let me tell you, protein shakes are really expensive to get by.
So that's only one form, right? I mean, protein shakes are one form of it. But if you look at a variety of foods, we already have an increase in consumption of animal products, including meats of all kinds. We have increase in dairy consumption. And I think that's going up because incomes are going up. Affordability is, greater today than it was earlier for a lot more people. And if you're looking at even the top end of the market, if you're talking about between 50 to 100 million people, that's a sizable market in any part of the world. So if that itself takes up whatever the industry is offering to give, gradually it will also percolate down to the other segments. That's a big market.
All right. I also spoke to the gym owner, seemed to be the most, scientifically backed person in that gym at that point in time. So here's his response on what his take was on this new protein infused atta. Take a listen.
बेसिकली जो प्रोटीन आप यूज की बात करें, जो आटा 25% प्रोटीन जो होगा वो ग्लूटेन प्रोटीन होगा, उसकी क्वालिटी इतनी अच्छी नहीं होती है अकॉर्डिंग टू न्यूट्रिशन। जो प्रोटीन आपके पास बाकी सोर्सेज से आता है उसके कंपेयर में ग्लूटेन प्रोटीन उतना अच्छा नहीं होता है। तो मेरे अकॉर्डिंग ठीक है, हाँ कहीं आप सोचो कि चलो यहाँ पूरा नहीं होता, यहाँ पूरा हो रहा है, लेकिन वो प्रोटीन जो होना चाहिए नेचुरली आपके वेज प्रोटीन से, एग से, फिश से, वो कवर ग्लूटेन से नहीं हो सकता। आटे से प्रोटीन और वेजिटेबल से प्रोटीन, दाल से प्रोटीन बेटर होगा दाल या वेजिटेबल से प्रोटीन लें इंस्टेड ऑफ आटे से। बेसिकली इसमें प्रोटीन में अगर प्रोटीन बढ़ा रहे होंगे तो कैसे होगा, वो उसमें मिलेट्स वगैरह इंक्लूड किए होंगे, होल ग्रेन किया होगा, तभी उसमें प्रोटीन इंटेक बढ़ रहा होगा, तो उसको नॉर्मल आटे को बेटर ही होगा। लेकिन इफ यू आस्क मी कि भाई वो बाकी प्रोटीन की जगह ले सकता है, नहीं ले सकता, तो आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट दैट।
Well, take a look at this, Dr. Shikhar Sharma. You heard the gym owner over there. He's worried about the gluten aspect of the protein in atta. And when you talk about gym goers, gluten is another one of those, tabulicious words that does come about. But do help the viewers understand, just like animal protein was quoted by Dr. Bagai, who's with us on the broadcast. He said animal protein sources score high on digestibility, but then again, India is largely vegetarian. How big of a challenge is this when we're trying to put protein on the Indian plates? And help the viewers once and for all, and you can take me as a case study. I'm 70 kilograms in body weight. How much protein do I really need in a day?
So like it has been mentioned before that 0.8 per kilogram you need. So roughly say about between say 65 grams of protein you need. But the question, I'll try to break it down into various parts. First is this entire myth that non-vegetarian diet is better to get protein. There is enough research out there which has busted this myth, because when we talk about non-vegetarian versus vegetarian protein, there is actually no difference, because it is how much your body is absorbing, what are the other kind of nutrients you're having, what is your liver condition, what is your gut condition. And in fact, people who just pump a lot of non-vegetarian food without really balancing with other vegetables and fruits and all, they end up with a lot of fatty liver, they end up with a lot of other conditions. So, to have a broad sweep saying that non-veg protein is better than veg is not a scientific thing, number one. Number two, let's understand that when we talk about protein deficiency and we talk about India having protein deficiency, the number one cause is poverty, unbalanced diet, and even bigger cause is water pollution. Most of Indian villages do not get clean drinking water. When you don't have clean drinking water, half the time the kid has diarrhea. Half the time the child is not able to absorb normal food. So not only protein deficiency, the child actually has many other deficiencies in the body. So it is not just restricted to protein. Number three, what I would like to say, yes, if somebody is going to the gym and they're doing certain exercises, they're working out for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and they are wanting to have whey protein or this protein, definitely they can go ahead and have under supervision. But one caution I must say is that a lot of proteins also come with weight loss boosters, with other kind of products which are synthetic products. So it is not that something you can just pick off a shelf. You have to take it under supervision, and you have to take the right brand and the right quantity. You cannot do it just because I need protein, so I can eat as much protein. The similar way as you cannot just over-consume supplements; they have no beneficial effect. So what I'm trying to say is that peddling it as a magic mantra, that's the problem, and that's where I say it's a fad. Yes, scientifically we need protein. Scientifically we need a lot of vitamins also, and we need enzymes. But
there's a lot of room to explore when you're talking about educating and creating the right kind of awareness and not picking up these fancy-looking bottles right there from the shelf. Mr. Cherian, completely running out of time. Now's the moment for all my panelists to exercise brevity. Packaging protein into cultural foods. We earlier spoke about kulfi, and now it's going to be roti. That's a great paradigm shift. Like Mr. Datta spoke to us, it's not a fad and it's not all hype. There seems to be some science here, is what the FMCG expert also told us. But do you think it's going to make it more acceptable, this nostalgia marketing? I mean, purane zamane mein nani kulfi khilaya karti thi. Today, that same kulfi is rich in protein.
To start with, I just want to also diminish one of the myths. India is largely a non-vegetarian country. It's not a vegetarian country in the majority. That's one. Second, in fact, the poor, the tribal, the backwards consume non-vegetarian because they don't have access to the kind of vegetables that they should have access to. But that's a different thing. As far as the marketing by FMCG, Devanshu has made some very interesting points, and I tend to agree with those. The idea is that this marketing is going to go a part of the way in terms of balancing the kind of deficiency that existed in many of our products. That's one. Second, there is no doubt that you need to understand for yourself by self-consumption, as long as you're not diseased with water which is polluted or something. You need to understand from your own consumption pattern what works for you. What is it that you're absorbing and how quickly are you absorbing that? And number three, what are the best sources to absorb it from? The fact that it is conveniently available from FMCG companies is not the best thing. It is better to have as much protein directly in its natural form as possible. Everybody will tell you.
You have diminished that myth, and I do concur. I'll concede. I see it a lot of many times. Some of my friends, they'll go for a little tandoori chicken run right after their gym sets. That does happen. So maybe we're not as vegetarian as we come out to be, but the jury's still out on that. We can wait for that. Let's focus back on the Indian diet. And my final question to Dr. Bagai. Doctor, can the Indian diet realistically meet protein needs without the supplementation that comes with it? I was earlier talking to the gym owner and he said if the dal and your sabzi, it takes care of the protein intake, then you need not look for supplements all the time as well.
So 4 quick points. One is the children who require a specific format of protein, who are not at a small toddler or under 5 age group gym goers, require the proper supplementation of protein. If it is low, you will see serious side effects. Point number two, the professional athletes, which is a huge number now, or people who are doing intensive weight training or resistant training, require that extra amount of protein. Point number three is there is a concept of essential amino acids in proteins and non-essential amino acids in proteins, and what we call as the middle category of ambiguous. There are 9 essential amino acids. Those have a better absorption and they give better results. Last, most importantly, as a request to all the companies, pan-India is go plastic free in packaging. Plastic kills. Plastic will obliterate all the good effects of all nutrition. We should have all packaging of all food products, all liquid products in plastic-free containers.
All right. Devanshu Datta, Mr. Cherian, Dr. Shikhar Sharma and Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, many thanks for joining us here on the broadcast. Completely run out of time. It seems like the challenge isn't that India lacks food, it's the right balance on that plate. But the good news is that small steps have been taken by the big brands out there. But is this going to be the health revolution, or is this going to be just another fashion food trend that we're going to swipe upon? Well, we'll have to wait and find out. Many thanks for watching In Your Interest. Top developments right on the other side.
ट्रस्टेड लॉयर शर्मा जी ने अपने दीवारों पर जेके मैक्स पेंट्स क्या लगवाया? अजीब अजीब बहाने लेकर आने लगे पड़ोसी उनका घर देखने।
हाय शर्मा जी, एक रील बना लूं उस ब्यूटीफुल सी वॉल के पास।
हमारा टॉमी नहीं मिल रहा, यहाँ आया होगा।
मुझे गर्मा गर्म पकौड़े।
जेके मैक्स पेंट्स, खुशियों के रंग।
This is nothing. My Skoda is 5 stars. तेरे को पता है मेरी Skoda ना ऑटोमेटिक है और वो भी 7 speed. My Skoda can fly to Jupiter like a rocket.